such a wonderful dream. And it's like this morning I had a really good active imagination, and I really do see images. I mean, they are very silhouette-y. I mean, in other words, they're not color. They are just movement of, I've seen a couple color ones, but they're just movement of the blackness. But it definitely becomes a face or a hand or something like that. And then the one day there was the girl jumping over the rock with ram's horns, and then I don't know, the image like I had of the barn was more of I had sort of really fallen into a deep kind of a trance. When I'm seeing these other things, I'm not asleep. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing it up is I'm always so grateful to the unconscious for communicating with me like this. And I'm really thinking your dream has this attitude of great concern.
Oh yeah.
Of immense concern. And it's just such and I think the problem is it's the same that I had as as someone who was living blissfully in Never Never Land.
Right.
Without any reason to leave. I think what's happening in your unconscious is it is giving you an urgent message to leave, to leave that place. I mean, the fact that you actually can feel that, I mean, there's a disconnect between your consciousness in your ego and your life force. And every once in a while, your life force moves into ascendancy and expresses dismay, at what is occurring as far as the root, coming out. And I think that was what made you, fall down to your knees and weep when you saw that the period of action, not just for today, but for you personally, the sun was going down. Now that might have been just a symbol of the current temporary state, or I don't think, because I was pretty much in that state until I was about in my 40s, so, but but I don't know what your unconscious function is. It might be sensation, but
the test I took just recently said that it actually marked me as an introverted sensate, but
okay,
it said it was I was just barely more a sensation than what the other function was.
Yeah, so I would say then that your inferior function has got to be feeling then. Now, really, is it? That doesn't sound right. But
yeah, I know.
I know.
I kind of, I think I'm pretty well balanced, but I think I think the feeling is sort of suppressed or unconscious because I've been having all these dreams recently where, I just burst out in sadness and tears, and I have these incredibly strong feelings. And I'm like, well, why, didn't they just come through in my waking life? Why am I not aware of this just when I'm awake? But, it only can come through in my dreams, it seems.
Yeah. Hi, Ivan. We're just finishing up a discussion here on Charles had a dream of that the sun was setting, and he could see the moon coming in from, was it the left?
Yeah.
You know, and it was the night was coming in, and then he collapses in sorrow that the sun was setting, and didn't was totally apathetic about the moon, you know, which is normally mysterious, but you know, in this case, there's nothing about it that is captivating ego. So, you know, just what I was thinking was that it is well, I was just talking about my own experience with that same world was you know, I didn't really resolve it until my 40s, you know, and I think Gary, hi Gary, we're just kind of talking about the dream I told you about Charles had, but I think the aspect of why the dream ego is so apathetic about the moon world coming in, and in deep, and I'll tell you something, if your feeling function is your inferior function, whenever it comes into its ascendancy, that person normally starts to be very weepy. You know, there's a an aspect of that when the feeling function overcomes the thinking function person, that they just their only response to it is to become very depressed and emotional. I mean, the feeling experiences itself as I mean, it's sort of such a primitive adaptation to the feeling function. But you don't really seem like a person that is that would be your inferior function. So if it's, yeah, when they said you're evenly balanced between intuition and sensation, then I'm saying, well, I don't know. I mean, is intuition your inferior or sensation your inferior? I don't know. So, I mean, I'm just saying the default would be feeling. But anyway, how's Gary doing?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Yeah, well, that's great.
No
And
dreams,
Ivan,
though.
yeah, I was just saying, anybody have any more thoughts about Ivan's dream? That was a pretty good dream. Uh, it was, let's just go through it again. Let's see. Well, no, what did I do with it? I think I saved it to the wrong thing.
Oh, yeah. Could you post it when you find it?
Yes, yes, I will. Let's see. Ivan, could you send that one more time?
Yeah, let me find it
Yeah,
real quick.
just send it, put it in the text. Because I think I actually had my Word document open in two different places. And then when I saved it one place, it was, got it, erased it. You know, but if you could, I mean, let's just talk about that a little bit. Hi, Tim, Dawn. We're just saying, Ivan's going to text us. We thought we'd just talk about that dream a little bit, but oh, here we go.
Okay, and there you go.
Yeah, great. Let's just talk about it a little bit, and then I want to just talk a little bit. You're a teenager to high school. You're in a cafeteria full of other students, and we are all doing yoga class together. And I'm in the back corner of the cafeteria. I'm struggling with my flexibility, keep getting pushed into the corner. The teacher takes note of my rigidity with concern. Okay, now that's sort of interesting, the first part. But then later, you're outside, and a friend has a new green bike he's showing out. I find a dead crow or a raven on the ground nearby and rub it, swing on my friend's arm. I mean, that's just always end with a bang. I mean, that's the way Ivan's dreams go. But anyway, I mean, you're just to go again, just to sum it up, you're at the place of the departure point. So this is a place we always return to go to circumambulate the center. And the whole idea of this hero journey over and over again is to fertilize it, the center. And just a second. That darn dog, he just keeps barking. They started barking. But anyway, that you're in your young. It's a kind of a collective thing, and you're doing a yoga class, and that means to connect two things together, you know. And then you're in the back corner of the cafeteria, and even though you're very good at yoga, you're struggling with your flexibility. So you have really difficulty connecting what needs to be connected, which is usually the consciousness and the unconscious. And because you're not flexible enough, you're too rigid. So it's difficult for the consciousness to develop a dialogue or a relationship with the unconscious because of our lack of flexibility and our rigidity. Okay, so then the second aspect is that we're outside, and a friend is showing us a green bike. So he's showing us the sort of it actually is showing us the solution to your lack of flexibility and your rigidity that keep you from having a relationship with your soul. And what he's saying is, first of all, that it's the way of sensation, the way of greenness. And then what you do is you go get the wing of the Holy Spirit that is black. So this is the black Holy Spirit, and you rub that pneuma of the bird wing onto this sensation person, you know, or the person who brings you the sensation thing. Could be the shadow too. You know, do you know of anything about your friend of mine with the green bike?
No, no,
No.
they were nondescript.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, the only thing is he has the green bike, so he doesn't seem to be a threatening figure. And the green bike, to me, is the balancing part of the second dream. The first part of the dream shows what the dilemma is, and the second part of the dream shows the solution. And the solution appears to be the way of moving of greenness and the sensate way of moving, you know, which is being not using our willful ego anymore. I mean, intuition and sensation are the two functions that just happen to us, you know. So there's an aspect of it. It's very Taoist, you know, the road of sensation, that especially for an introverted person, you know. And then I don't really know what this means yet, but finding the black wing of the crow and rubbing it on his arm. So you're rubbing on that thing he does to act in the world. You are anointing his arm with the wing of the Holy Spirit of the of the raven. Okay, and the raven is sort of this very neutral figure. He's not all light and spirit like the dove is. And so, but he's he's spirit nonetheless. And what is he the Holy Spirit of? You know, like the woodpecker is the Holy Spirit of the trees, the swan or the duck is the Holy Spirit of the water. You know, I don't know what the shoebill stork is the Holy Spirit of. But anyway, why don't we just go around and we promised Angela we'd do her dream. I wonder if you could put that in the text, Angela, or you emailed it to me, didn't you? Yes, you emailed it to me. I'll put it in the text. But Charles, what do you think? I mean, we're just trying to revisit Ivan's dream.
Isn't there like a raven figure in Scandinavian mythology?
Yes, it's the Wotan has two ravens, And Carl reminded us that their names are Thought and Memory, and they are bring Wotan, this wandering Hermes, bring him all the news from all over the world, you know, and he's the one who gave up one eye to see the mystery of the universe, which was symbolized by the runes. And that is very like the voodoo of Haiti. You know, they take they wear a pair of sunglasses with the right lens punched out, and the black, and then they blacken the left lens, and then they say, with this eye I see the world, and with this eye, the black eye, I survey the universe. You know, which is kind of what Wotan does. But anyway, the raven is we have to keep in mind that he is the probably the wisest bird there is. I don't know of a bird. Have anybody here? Of course, Tim, you see ravens a lot, don't you? Yeah, and
Yeah, they perch just outside the studio, and sometimes they sit on top of the window frame.
do you ever
So
watch them?
Yeah, I'm fascinated with them.
Well, yeah, I mean they're not like any other bird. They
Right.
walk around like people.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the feeling that it's just some kind of a short person walking around in a black overcoat. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I see them walking around, and they walk like a person. You know, with a little bit of a limp. You know, and they seem to like to walk around. And then they're wonderful noises. Like, you know, I heard one time. It just makes a noise like a drop of water going into a bucket. You know, it's like, whoop. Then all their wonderful croaking, you know, and anyway, they're just a very, I would say that they are probably the most shamanic of any bird, you know.
And they're incredibly smart.
Yes, I mean, to me, they represent almost the personification of all birds. But then the fact that they're black, and they are there is nothing about a raven, and look at how they're associated with death. You know, in Edgar Allan Poe's poem, "The Raven," you know, it's somewhat associated with death. What do you think, Gary?
I don't know. I like what you had to say about the, the wing and the anointing. This one's got me a little bit stumped. I don't really have anything to add.
Yeah, well, it is it's a kind of a funny dream until you get to the end, and you know, always remember when you have two parts of a dream, one's not related to the other. It's always means from this that they are related, even though they don't seem like they are. And so this fact that yoga is something that connects things together. He's in a yoga class. He's in his young. He's at the point of departure, and he cannot connect things together the way they should because of his lack of flexibility. So it's really a statement that his conscious mind has a resistance to the inner world. He's inflexible about taking it, but about having an equal partnership with the inner world, and it's because of a flexibility and a rigidity involved in ego consciousness. And then the second part of the dream tells us how to heal that aspect of disconnection. What do you have any comments about it, Tim?
I have a question. Who is it that's trying to keep you pushed into the corner? Is that other students or?
Yeah, it's like I I don't know if you've ever been in like a really crowded yoga class and it's just like you're in the back corner and you can't actually like really move. It was that feeling where everyone's kind of keep moving into me, and I couldn't quite, even when wanted to do something, there wasn't enough space. I'm really tall. I don't know if you can tell from the camera, but I'm 6'4".
Oh
So
gosh, you should move your camera down so it looks like you're going out of the frame.
then you'd see all my mess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it occurs to me, I like what you said, Craig, about the inflexibility, and there's something about that seems to rise above the other things in my mind, because when I think of yoga, the first thing I think of is flexibility and how important that is. I also been cogitating about the dark spirit of the crow
Yes.
and wondering what else has a dark spirit. And one thing that comes to mind is Lucifer,
Mhm.
who is a kind of a devilish figure that is the bringer of light. And the other is, I think about alcohol, because it is a spirit that is often seized by somebody who does not realize that the spiritual is a metaphor. It's you can't just pick it up and swallow it. You have to work for it. So those are the things that came up in thinking about what is a dark spirit.
Yeah, compare it with a bat, or also the rat that Sarah had. There's an aspect that when it comes, it's uncanny. So there is an aspect of this is a figure that contains an omen. There's something about this that is an omen, but it is an uncanny omen. So, if you saw Dawn's dream about the dove coming, that is a more of a acceptable bird to the unconscious, to the conscious attitude. But the raven is problematical. Is that really acceptable to the conscious attitude of the raven?
But you also have control of it. So
Yes.
you have it and you're rubbing it on this guy. And so there's some aspect of control that you have that maybe is not acknowledged or not fully utilized or something like that.
Well, the arm should act as the raven acts, is what it's kind of saying.
Do you know if it's the right or left arm?
I think it was the left arm. I think it was the left arm.
That makes more sense.
Well, see, there you got the green man, and his and the dream ego knows that the man with the green bike, his way, whenever we dream about our hands or our arms, this is the way that we act in the world, and he is anointing this way of acting in the world with the raven's wing, and says we must act in the world as the raven acts, and so it's an uncanny type of action. There's it's strange and mysterious, and yet this see in the first half of the dream where we're disconnected, and because of our inflexibility and rigidity, in this section where our bike is green and we are anointing the arm with the raven's wing, act like the raven acts, ride the bike of sensation or of greenness, so that if you did act like the raven acts, this uncanny, mysterious way of acting, and also rode with greenness, or went everywhere you went with greenness and acted like the Raven Act. That is about as flexible and connected, as far as connecting the inner world and the outer world, as you could possibly be. Because see, who's in control now? The way the Raven acts, and the greenness, the way of greenness. That is the two emphases of the center of gravity of awareness now. Center of gravity awareness would be greenness and acting the way the Raven acts. I'm just going on and on. What do you think, Roy?
Yeah, I don't get a good feeling from the Raven.
Mhm.
The two people in the dream, the instructor and the guy on the green bike, they're not showing their vulnerabilities. And they're making Ivan feel vulnerable, awkward. And he doesn't respond in a logical and rational way. He responds in like a primal or an archaic way.
Yes.
And that tells me that there's something working in the background. Like he has a daemon working in the background.
I don't think that's his decision. Yeah, I agree.
I didn't
with you
say
there.
it was his decision.
No, I think I'm agreeing with what you're saying.
And the daemon he's unconscious of, and it doesn't want him to respond in a rational and logical way. Oh, these people are showing me something, and that's going to help me. But he can't respond to it because I don't think the demon wants him to respond to it. The demon's manipulating him in the background, and he's unconscious of it.
Mhm.
And that's why he responded in the way that he did with the Raven, is sort of primal and archaic. So he's not aware of what's going on. Now, why this is happening, I don't know. He's like stuck somewhere. But if he can catch this thing in the background doing things, he can get an idea of what's happening. I think he has a daemon working in the background.
Well, that is so. You know, that's kind of what we've been all sensing all along. That act of taking the raven's wing and anointing the appendage of action. Our legs are not what do things. Our you know, it is our arms. That's what makes us non-knuckle walking hominids. You know, we don't walk on our knuckles. We use Homo habilis. We are tool making beings, and so this thing that acts in us, Ivan has assumed the role of a magician. And I don't think he knows he is a magician, but he's really, whoever this person is that is rubbing the arm with the raven's wing seems to be doing it, like you say, unconsciously. Something has compelled him to do it, but not his ego mind. You know, I mean, I just don't think that. Ivan, do you think that you would, if you saw a raven's wing, that you'd pick it up and start rubbing someone's arm with it?
No.
No, I'm
No.
just saying something's compelling us to do that.
That's really interesting though, because it did feel, you mentioned this last time, Roy, and it did feel a little mischievous. But what you said too was something I had put together, was in the first part of the dream when the yoga instructor like called me out, it felt a little bit rude because it was in front of a giant group. And so it had like the idea of being like, you know, like the appearance of being concerned, but really also kind of a little bit of an attack. At the same time, also kind of just feeling a little bit pushed into the corner, like a little cornered. And then the second part, like it felt like this person was trying to show off the spike, you know. And the entire feeling of the dream was very like I mean, it's high school, right? That's, that was the feeling of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, well, it is. It's sort of, it describes, I think, in the first place, the conscious attitude, and then the second part of it, you've entered the realm of magic, of absolute uncanny magic, and that, like Roy's saying, the realm of the daemon. I mean, this is to me, it's like going into a cave and watching some mysterious ritual, you know, where in the first part there is a sort of somewhat of a ritual, but it's more of a conscious attitude ritual. But the thing is, we aren't a part of it. We keep moving over here because we're too inflexible and rigid, and we sort of leave that milieu of the activity of this yoga class, and because we're too flexible, too rigid, we can't participate. And then the second part is so far removed from that. I mean, this you've entered really a realm of magical spells and enchantments, you know, the green bike and the raven's wing, which is already full of omens, and then to take it and actually do black magic with it. This is a very strange magic that if you rub someone's arm with the raven wing, that it, you know, I sent that picture earlier where they buried people on swan's wings. You know, there's just something about the wing of these spirit birds that is very powerful.
You know, I'm also thinking about the difference in the symbol between the raven, the dead raven, and the feather.
Yes.
And if it had been a feather that you stroked his arm with, or with a live bird, that would be a very different thing than a dead bird. There's something about that that pokes out at me.
Yeah, it's almost become like you know, where you read the recipe of the witch in Shakespeare, you know, when they're putting stuff in the pot, you know, eye of newt, and you know, I mean, it has a almost has this is what's required to transform the arm of action, you know. But who is who in that second part, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if that's really Ivan doing that. I mean, because it does not seem something like the ego would do. It seems like something the self would do, or something. Ivan, what kind of identity did you really? Did you didn't have any problem knowing that it was you doing that, though?
Yeah, it seemed to be me,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It doesn't seem like something I would normally do.
No, I mean, you know, let's say any of us in our dream do something very strange and beyond us, you know, but we're doing it. It just has a very uncanny feel, you know, like yes, we're doing it, but we don't understand it. There's no way we understand what we're doing. It's just we're sort of become the actor in someone else's mystery play, you know. And I think that's what Roy was getting at too.
Well, you know, a point that I'm trying to make is that Ivan's kind of acting in an infantile way, but he's just a teenager. But he's in awkward situation where he's kind of put on the spot. He's vulnerable, and this Raven thing comes up, which is sort of archaic, but doesn't make any sense. But what I'm trying to make is, I'm addressing this to Ivan. Think about this and think about Well, let's say I'm a 40-year-old and I'm looking back at this story. How can I react in a rational and logical way? Things that I could do to respond to the guy on the bike and the instructor. And we're outside of this Raven thing. I'm just totally dropping it. We're talking about ego consciousness here. We're talking about dealing with these awkward situations with our ego consciousness, because that's the only way you can contrast what happened, because the daemon doesn't seem to want you to do that. And you got to mediate between the physical world and the unconscious. That's what the conscious attitude's about. You have to mediate. So try to mediate. Well, what would I do if I was more mature to these awkward situations? That'll give you power. That'll put you in a whole new place. That's the point I'm trying to get across.
Good. I love it, Roy. You always, you bring you and Gary bring the reality function a lot in that I really miss. Carl or Angela, or do you have anything to add to it?
No, not really.
Not really. Okay. Was Angela still with you, Carl?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. How about you, Sarah? Do you have any? Oh, go ahead.
No, she's just saying hi.
Hi, Greg.
Oh, hi, Angela. We'll try to get to your dream here next. Sarah, do you have any comments about it?
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, good. I don't really have too much more to add, but I still, to me, it feels like almost the mystical is kind of trying to get his attention.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So mystical.
And the dead crow almost to me represents almost his ability to now open up to it, maybe. Maybe it's not like the death of something, but maybe the end of like what's holding him back from being able to accept it.
Mhm.
That's how I kind of think of it, like the mystical, is kind of asking him to, put a little more attention to that, because yoga is great, and that all that stuff is great, but maybe part of him, maybe his unconscious is saying that maybe it's time for something a little bit more.
Yeah, where the yoga is not really deeply European. This second part of the dream is just deeply of the hunting tribes of the northern plains. I mean, it has such a shamanic quality where
maybe even his ancestors
yes,
saying hello. What about
exactly. It's very it's so the first part of it shows a attempt in consciousness to establish a more flexible and less rigid quality, but the ego can't do it. But it just is too rigid and inflexible, and because of its inability to perform in using the ego, it just keeps getting shunted off to the corner. Okay, and then the dream is saying, well, this is not the way to do it. I mean, this is that you're trying to accomplish it with ego consciousness, and ego consciousness will not succeed in becoming undivided and whole in this. And remember, when you're undivided and whole, that means you are uniting with the fourth dimension. See, the part of us that's not whole is we're imprisoned in time and space. So we're not whole. We're broken. We need to become whole and not broken. We need to leave the prison of time and space and realize that we are not creatures of time and space. There is an aspect of us that is as at home in the truly existing fourth dimension. That there's a part of us that knows that that's our home as well, you know. And that first part of it is a fumbly way of doing it, but the second part of it is showing us. To me, you've already entered sort of the fourth dimension in the symbols that are in that. You know, the what really unites us with the fourth dimension is the wordless symbol that when we see it, it's an aesthetic arrest. It's like one of Tim's most beautiful artworks that even makes him look at it with awe. You know, it's this awe-inspiring, something that throws us out of our ego personality and into another realm. You know, immediately. There are sometimes things that happen that suddenly you're thrown out of time and space, you know. And I think that's really what this thing is saying, is that trying to heal our brokenness in the conscious world through any method is not going to work, because the ego, it can't do it. But that second part of the dream, and who knows what it means, you know, it's a very mysterious thing that happens. It's a mysterious ritual that ego consciousness participates in. So what you know, what you could say is that it's almost like a black mass, and the ego is assimilating the image of the raven's wing and the magic of rubbing it onto the arm of action and becoming more raven-like, and then also getting this aura of greenness everywhere. You know, I mean, let's just say everything around us has a green aura, and then we find the magical raven's wing, which is the uncanny bird, and we say from now on, our arms and our way of acting, the consciousness of our arms is going to be raven-like, because we've united. Our arm is now identical with the raven. Okay. Now, do we need yoga class now if our arms are identical with the raven? You know, I mean, it's just that I'm just saying, Ivan, everybody that heard the last half of that dream was stunned, and they didn't know why. I mean, I was, you know, and I didn't know why. But I think that what it is doing is it's establishing with our arms an identity with the raven, you know, and this the magic of the raven. Why don't everybody else just have one more word about it, and then we'll go into Angela's dream. We did a couple of with Charles. What Saturday night, I think. Yeah, I just did a couple with him, and so I can summarize those later. And then whoever else has a dream. Dawn had a dream too, and we'll discuss that a little bit. But anyway, Charles or Gary or Tim or Roy.
After hearing this dream a few times, I almost think that like the aspect of the dead crow or dead raven is like, I don't know, I'm starting to think maybe it's a little bit like unnecessarily morbid, and that it might be somewhat more of like a negative response, because it is, you know, after he gets like shoved into the corner and then called out, and then some guys is showing off his bike, it makes me think that it is almost like a kind of morbid, dark response to the situation.
Do you think it's diseased? I mean, when I hear morbid,
I don't know.
It's
Like, well,
it's
just the fact that it's dead.
yeah,
And
well, yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
It makes me think of like almost like a curse
Well,
put on someone. But that's just what I was thinking about it.
That's my
it
thought,
almost seems
too.
like it was put there as a charm or an amulet.
I
Yeah.
I lean more towards what you're saying, Craig, and also the Damon thing that Roy was talking about. That is like a mystical nature spirit, some like a shaman from long past. Something in the unconscious. I mean, modern people have a much different view. Modern Europeans have a much different view of the Raven than, especially the people of that were being attacked by Vikings. They had a much different view of the Raven than the Vikings themselves.
Because it was on the
Yeah, they were.
flags. It was on
Yeah.
the sails and the flags of these marauders.
Yes, and then they'd see, when after the town got slaughtered by Vikings or something, the ravens are sitting around pecking people's eyes out and stuff. But if I had this dream, I would, anytime I see a raven in a dream or in real life, to me, it's like it's like a sacred, magical, powerful animal. And, not dissing what anyone else is saying, but that's just how I would take it. I kind of just feel like it's saying, how I would take it is, hey, the yoga's it's good, but it's kind of bloodless, in a way. It's, I don't know, maybe my art is maybe a little more bloody, like in my, I don't know, I sent Tim some pictures. He could probably, I don't know, I was wondering what your background is like, Ivan. Like, are you just, I wonder that a lot when I hear about people's dreams, like, cause obviously, your personality and I see what I see. You're a nice guy and you're a smart guy and you have very interesting dreams, but.
Well, tell him what you do for a living, Ivan, other than play music.
I'm just a programmer.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it's not a very physical job. So I think this is saying it wants you to be more physical, more, just kind of more it's rubbing someone with a raven's wing is the opposite of like intellectual, or so.
Yeah. Yeah, and Charles, I don't disagree with you about the morbid quality of seeing a dead anything, but I think what that is the same thing I felt when I heard that there was a dead raven until they pick it till he picks it up and rubs that person's arm. Then I'm believing it is a magical amulet or of some type. So that first shock of the dead animal, how long has it been dead? And did it just die? Was it just killed? Does it look horrible when you look at it? But then when it's used in this magical manner, it transforms its previous state of just a carcass.
Yeah, I should clarify, like the aspect in the dream, the aspect of it being dead was less important than it being inanimate. Yes. And really, like, the important part was the wing was the thing that was the focus. Yeah. If I could put a word on it, like, wasn't really noticing the rest of it. It was the wing. I was actually just trying to remember now which wing it was. I couldn't remember if it was left and right or right, but.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing you were, Charles, when I first heard about it. What did you think, Gary?
Well, I thought Roy had a really interesting point in that there was a challenging aspect in both of these. So in the first part, with the conscious aspect, he's sort of pushed into a corner and can't find a way out. And then in the second part of the dream, there's the guy with the new bike that's kind of, presenting it in a, sort of a challenging or bragging sort of form. And yet, you know, now we have a really playful response, but the response is not from the conscious, it's from the unconscious. And maybe the raven's wing is an act of, you know, bringing those aspects alive. And I guess the, you know, so yoga joins, yokes, but a wing moves, you know, so it's like, it's kind of like a contrast between joining versus moving. And so one is almost like a, no, what's necessary is moving, and almost like a trickster type of aspect that comes spontaneously and from the unconscious.
How about you, Tim? Do you have any other comments on it?
No, but I think everybody's being really brilliant with this.
Yeah, it's really is a dream that is, and that's what Ivan. You're an INTJ, is that correct? Or,
Yeah, I think that's right. It's been a long time since I've taken
yeah.
any of this
Well,
stuff.
I mean, I think we're both have the same typology, but I mean, I think the main thing is that I've just noticed that Ivan's dreams are incredibly profound. I mean, there's just an aspect of them that they're they sort of let's just put it this way, that they are so profound that they're more profound than I am. You know, I mean, I just have this feeling that this dream maker in me is I'm not worthy of it. You know, I mean, I don't say that to say you aren't worthy of your dreams, Charles or Ivan, but they are so powerful.
Yeah, I get what you're saying totally.
Yeah.
I oftentimes get these symbols in my dreams where a lot of people I think kind of think of dreams as like just your brain processing what you see throughout the day, and I seem to get a lot of stuff in my dreams that like it's totally out of left field for me, not something I'm really conscious of.
And I just want to mention the fact of seeing a detached wing, you know, is there's something about this detached wing that is sort of magical. I mean, here they bury the mother and her baby, and this is 6,000 years old in Denmark, on a swan's wing, you know. Oops. Yeah. So anyway, how about you, Roy? You got it. You really kind of nailed it there, I think.
Yeah, I just want to make the point now. I've been getting enough dreams and stuff here where he's getting a rough thing of this demon. You know, what does it want, and how does it influence the way that he interacts in the physical realm in life? I mean, is it if the more infantile he acts, then the more chthonic the daemon will be, because it's the self. It can be light or it can be dark. It's reflecting your conscious attitude. So it gives you a chance in your dreams to see where you're at in your conscious life, you know. And so maybe it comes back dark again, but if it's alive, you know, that's something different. It's live dark. So you want to follow this guy and see what it's doing in your physical life.
And you know, just saying that might explain the deep wisdom of these dreams that Ivan has. Maybe I'm just guessing, and it just came to me from what Roy is saying, that you have an ally. You know, not very many people have an ally, but like Don in Carlos Castaneda and Don Juan, if you have someone like Don Juan who is lingering in the back and living with you, you know, and see, this is what they call a psychoid being. You know, it's one that does not exist in your unconsciousness. It exists outside your body and outside your unconscious. But it's
Craig, you need proof. he needs some facts. I mean, I know you don't care about facts, but this is a scientific approach.
Mhm.
It might not be an ally.
Mhm.
You got to have some facts. You can't assume it's an ally.
Well, the only thing it
You
would
got
just
to put it to the test.
yeah, the only reason I even thought of it, and it just came to me right now, is the unusual wisdom of the dream, and to me, that I'm not saying that that's happening, but if something like that is happening, it kind of explains the dream ego picking up the wing and seemingly knowing what to do with it.
But the wing was chthonic and it was dead.
Yeah.
So you can't rule out spirit possession.
Mhm.
You can't rule out spirit possession. If it's spirit possession, it's not an ally.
Yeah.
He,
Well,
he needs more facts. He needs more facts.
there's some kind of a magical power at work here. I don't know what it is.
Oh,
No, but
that's
I mean,
for
it's-
sure. We agree
yeah.
on that, but is it for good or bad?
I
You know,
hope-
because it's so unconscious. It's so unconscious. He needs more awareness in this. You know, and he can get it if he reflects on it.
yeah,
You know, if he
to
wants
me,
to do that, if his intention is to do that.
I don't know if you guys have ever been to the Red Room or watched Twin Peaks and heard about the Red Room, but that second half of the dream reminds me of the Red Room in Twin Peaks. There's just this aspect that it's not, it's there, we're experiencing it, but it is almost somewhat disconnected from our own unconscious and has this autonomous character, you know, that because I'm just saying there's a very unusual wisdom. I don't know, Roy. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I am too, but I'm covering all of the bases.
Yeah.
You know, I'm covering them all. I'm
Yeah.
not ruling out anything because,
Okay.
you know, this stuff's real serious to me.
Yeah.
I want to know what's going on in the unconscious, if it's going to come in my dreams and it's going to affect my life.
Mhm. Okay, well, anyway, at least we've got, Ivan, do you have any concluding thoughts on it? I didn't mean to scare you.
No, let's see. There's a lot there. I wish I could tell if it was, so there was just kind of two things was that, so the wing was the thing I really noticed in the dream to the point, like, I felt like it was the whole bird when I woke up, but I'm not even sure if the whole bird was there or not. It's only the wing that I really noticed. But I really wish I knew if it was a crow or a raven.
Yeah, it would make a difference. The raven, to me, is up there with the swan or the eagle or the shoebill stork as a, or even the ivory-billed woodpecker as a god bird. You know, a bird that represents of almost infinite wisdom, you know.
Because sometimes when I think of, you know, a raven with wisdom, and I do like, you know, the sort of Edgar Allan Poe, I kind of think of it around death too. And I think of them as being a little bit mischievous. But I didn't think of it like from a disease perspective. It felt more like a magical change, transformation sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even hardly, it's even almost beyond transformation. There's an aspect of it that is like, I don't know, I mean, almost world transporting, you know, a little bit. Well, anyway, I just want to mention too, if anyone ever has, and I've done this with Charles a couple times, has a dream that you know, we're going a little slow, but they have one that they really want to work on. If you want to just email me, we could set up, you know, 45 minutes to an hour just to discuss it. So, you know, if our rotation's not going fast enough, anytime, especially if you could do it like at noon during the week, because I could do it during my noon hour, you know. So anyway, just keep that in mind. because I thought we'd do Angela's dream. And like Sarah, I'm kind of anxious to do one of your dreams or Dawn's dreams too. So if you have a dream, Sarah, you know, you can get it ready. But anyway, let's go through. We don't have well, we got almost a half hour. Did you, Angela, want to read your dream first? Or you want me to read it?
You can read it, please.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we're with Carl's parents and my mother and sister in Bogota, Colombia. Where do you come from, Angela?
I'm from Colombia.
You're from Colombia. Okay. So you're in your homeland, pretty much.
You're at home. So.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you're in your homeland. Okay. So you're with the parents of the Animus. Let's not say Carl, but you're with the parents of that inner figure, male figure within yourself. Let's not say it's Carl yet. It's just this sort of a guiding male principle within you. And you're with his parents. And then you're also with the mother and her daughter. Now you can say, I'm not saying it's not your real mother or your real sister, but let's be objective first. Not say it's represents any person in our life, but a role in the unconscious. So it's the mother and her daughter, and then the parents of the leading male figure in the unconscious, the animus. Okay, and we're in Bogota, Colombia. So we are in. Where were you born, Angela? Were you born in Bogota?
Yes.
Yes, you were born in Bogota. So you would be pretty much at the place of the beginning. Do you know where you were in Bogota? Was it in a home or just out in the open, or?
Yes, it was in a very commercial zone where
Yes.
there's a lot of stores and it's very cheap.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can find whatever you want in that place.
Okay. So it's sort of a place in the middle. You know, it's a place of this is the reason businesses, whenever we have a business in a dream, it means that person who can bring us what we need brings it here, and we go there to get it. And so it's sort of the place where things that we need can be acquired. They didn't come from there. They were brought there. So it represents this middle realm of exchange. It's kind of it really has a very interesting quality if we were to stop and amplify it. But anyway, we're there with the parents of the animus, not the animus, but his father and mother. And then we're there with also our mother and her daughter, who's our sister. Okay, and we're at the middle place. And then they have a dog, and my mom was not paying attention to him. So I tie a cord to his short tail, and then you went in to buy pants. So the parents of the animus are related to the instinctual life a little bit. You know, they bring an animal with them. You know, so they have this aspect of them that is when the instincts or the archetypes are near, the animal is near. There's sort of a link between archetypes and animal wisdom. Okay, so now, but yet we tie a cord to not to his collar, to where his neck is. You tie it to his tail. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So now you're just restraining him from running away, so you can, and because your mother's not paying attention to him. In other words, he could run away. So the parents. Now, who's they? Is that your mother and your dog and your sister have a dog? Your mother and your sister have the dog, or is that
No.
Carl's parents?
The, uh, Carl's parents, yes, and my mother and my sister.
Okay, but who owns the dog?
Oh, it wasn't very clear in the dream, but I think it's the Carl's dog.
Okay, it's Carl's dog. Okay, so so Carl, what's really representing Carl here is this instinctive animal, you know, and his parents. So and then we, instead of tying it to their neck or their collar like we normally do, we tie it to the aspect that is behind. I don't know what that means, but let's just keep going with it. Then you go in to buy a new persona attitude. So you're going to get a pair of pants. It's possibly something to clothe your standpoint. You know, you either buy shoes or a new pair of pants, but this is something to do with your lower extremities, the way that you move around. You know, but you're going into the store to buy pants, and you do this strange thing with the dog, which we're not sure about yet. Okay, and then you were with your sister trying to find the store that sells what you need, and there were many little places there, and every place was a store. And then we find your ex-boss, and he guides you to the store, but that store was of nice handcrafts, not of selling what you're looking for. What the ego wants is pants, and we're not finding them. And the sister doesn't help us, and this ex-boss doesn't help us. But they were nice, and you're trying to remember whose birthday it was, so you're getting a little distracted from buying pants. You're going to buy something else. Then you see on a branch 4 or 5 big owls and eagles, very dignified, standing tall. And now see, this is sort of like the second half of Ivan's dream. You know, it's the first half starts out sort of just ordinary, and the second half we enter the realm of magic. Okay, so you're on a branch 4 or 5 big owls, eagles, very dignified, standing tall, and they were brown, gray, earth colors. They were not somber. From left to right, the first was the great horned owl. One was a golden eagle, and the other one is one of my favorite birds in the whole world, the Harpy Eagle. Now they have those in South America and Central America. They eat tree sloths, you know, those birds that go up the. A sloth is one of these very slow moving animals that go up the tree. The Harpy Eagle is the largest eagle and the strongest eagle in the whole world, and it eats them. So these are very noble birds. First, the great horned owl is the king of owls. It's called the tiger owl, you know. And then the golden eagle is the largest eagle in North America. The Harpy Eagle is the largest eagle in the world. And they're wearing something like a hood, like American Indian headdress with feathers, and they had a feminine presence. So this is kind of the spirit birds seem to be the birds of the spirit, not of the male principle, but of the female principle. There were many other scenes to the dream, but I can't recall them. But that last part is plenty powerful. Okay, we probably aren't going to get through this dream because it's going to take us a while to assimilate it. But Charles, do you have any comments on it? I want to show everybody a picture of a harpy, but go ahead.
Not yet. I'm kind of having difficulty trying to tie the two halves of the dreams together. Still thinking about it.
Well, the way to always tie them together is from that. So the first half states the problem, and the second half, in seemingly unrelated, states the solution. You know, What do you think, Gary? Do you have any comments on either the first half or the second half of the dream?
Yeah, I'll take a stab. So you're with the parents, they have the dog, you tie the cord to his tail, and then you go to buy pants. Well, if I was going to lead a dog, I would, put it around his neck. But if the dog was going to lead me, like putting it on the tail might actually make sense. So it's kind of like a reverse thing. And then, pants, like wearing the pants in the family or, pants, it has this sort of symbolic of, choice, decision, taking action. So, already we have a bit of a reversal because the dog, which is the kind of the instinctual aspect, isn't really under control. You've put the control in the wrong place. And then, you go to get pants, which should be the demonstration of your decisive, controlling type of nature. And yet, instead you end up in a place of many distractions. And then your ex-boss, who is a power figure, who would be like, especially if you're going to take power, coming across another power figure that again yet distracts you and says, oh, over here, look at these these nice knickknacks. Again, you're kind of taken away from your power center or whatever it is that you actually need to make a decision about in your life and control, and you're just kind of like shuffled off to the side. And instead of taking control for yourself, you're like, well, who can I buy a gift for with these little knickknacks? And so then we move on to the second half of the dream, and you have these very significant birds, and to me these are witnesses to what's going on. And so unfortunately we don't have the complete dream, but I think these are like the higher aspects of yourself that are kind of looking down on what's going on, and maybe to let that wait, there's some significance here that you need to take into account that relate to your higher aspects. So that's my initial hand waving guess.
Yeah, the thing I like about what you're saying too is that wearing the pants means that is assuming control of our life. And now the animus in that dream, one's missing, is replaced by a dog, and the other one misguides us, doesn't lead us where we need to go, distracts us and tells us to do something else. When what the ego's trying to do is it's trying to buy pants. It's trying to buy a control, is trying to gain control in the outer world for itself, and it's doing it itself. And yet the animus seems not to steer us away from doing that. Maybe the animus wants to stay in control. I wanted to show you this picture of the harpy. It looks very much like a human being. Look at that. They always, people see the Harpy Eagle, they think it's a person sitting there. I mean, there's even more stark images of the harpy that just looks like a ghostly human being. But anyway, Tim, do you have any comments about it?
Yeah, I want to start with an association I have with stores. Stores are one of my least favorite places. It just is an assault of mostly kitsch and stuff that I don't need. But a craft store really grabs my attention because here's something made by a human being, and it's beautiful and it's attractive to me.
Mm-hmm.
So what I see happening here is the problem is the dog is not in control. The instinct is not in control. And that seems to be the problem specified by the first part of the dream. And I agree with Gary that putting the lead on the tail is an invitation to be led by the instinct into the animal world. And this going into the store is a distraction from that, because there's so many things that are attractive and sparkly there. But, and it's often the guy in power or the ego or some outside force that is leading in that direction, maybe for some kind of a transaction. But if it were my dream, I'd say, well, all of a sudden I get involved in the beauty of this article, this craft article, which brings out maybe the spirit of the craft, and all of a sudden the birds are available. And I think the birds are very much like in Ivan's dream. They are magical guides of some kind. And you've got the wise owl, the powerful harpy, and the valuable golden eagle. And so all of these, and they're not just raw birds, they have this headdress that makes them magical guides or some kind of shamanistic character.
Sounds like a Central American Indian type of a headdress.
Right. And so it feels like, putting the two parts together, it feels like the invitation is to, oh, and the pants have to do, I think, with putting sensibility on the lower order, or the instinctual impulses, or I think of the fact that sexual energy is so close to the creative impulse. So it could be that the creative impulse is being led by these spirit guides who can open up a new world in some way.
What's interesting is the animus in the outer world is not represented by the animus. It's represented by his instinctive quality, the dog, and yet he's in danger of wandering off. So our animus in the outer world is either vacant or is going to leave us. Now, when we go into the store, you could say two things. Either one, the animus is distracting us from buying our pants, or two, he tries to interest us in art, something that maybe we should be more interested in than pants. What do you think, Roy?
Let's see. I agree with a lot of stuff that's in there. I'm saying what I'm getting is she has a very strong mom, and she's not totally buying Carl. And so Sarah is going to buy pants, like, who's wearing the pants? She's going to try to stand up to her mother. But she gets distracted, and this other animus figure, the ex-boss, she's thinking about buying gifts. Well, that's propitiate. Let's propitiate this thing. That's not going to work. And then she sort of escapes into idealism. These spiritual ideal things that it's like from the inner world, where she has the power, but it's in the inner world, not in the physical world. And part of this is coming from America because of the American Indian headdress, but her mom isn't buying it. So I see some sort of conflict between her and her mom. She's trying to assert her individuality and her beliefs and where she's coming from. And it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, well, what's interesting too is I think about the when we go in we go in to buy pants, and then when we meet the Animus, he is not really interested in what we want. He wants to show he's going to something that maybe he's interested in, and then we start to try to think about what do others need, whose birthday's coming up, and whatever. So we're getting distracted from the reason we went in there was to. The only thing I think of, and I don't know, Angela, whether you have this expression in Colombia, but who wears the pants? You know, who wears the pants usually means who is in control. And the person who wears the pants is the person who exercises authority. And yet, instead of getting the pants that allow the ego to exercise authority, and another authority figure comes in and says, doesn't say it out loud, don't buy pants, but he knows you want pants. But instead of leading you to the pants store, he leads you somewhere else. So he's not following your direction. I mean, the only reason you asked him that was to know where the pants were, so you could be the one who wears the pants, the one who is the one who is in charge. And so, I mean, it's sort of a self-assertion that we want more control of our own life, you know. And yet this authority figure does not, I'm not saying they don't want us to, but they don't assist us in asserting our own authority by being the one who wears the pants, you know. What do you think, Ivan?
I was just thinking about the birds. They seem like to me, they represent some divine aspects. I don't know enough about the symbolism to say which ones, but that really stood out to me. But I was wondering, I wish I knew like what they were doing. It seems like they're just there, but why are they there? Like they seem to be just above, right? They're on this tree branch, but.
Well, they're kind of a contrast to the authority figure, don't you think? I mean, we get the authority figure who wants to stop us from asserting our ego, and Tim did a very wonderful summary of who they are. One is the owl, the wisest bird in the world, you know. Then the other one is the golden eagle, and then there is the Harpy Eagle, which is really the king of all birds. I would put him up there with the shoebill stork, you know, as you know, we don't really have the Harpy Eagle around. It's found in Central and South America, but it is just I don't know of a bird in the whole world that is as amazing as the Harpy Eagle.
I also think about the Native American thunderbird.
Yes, it's if anyone's, well, you know, it sort of is almost the size of a condor, you know, a California condor. I mean, they're just absolutely huge. I'm trying to find a picture of how big they are. You know, some of the bigger ones, not all of them are huge, but this is shows a man here real quick. I'll just show you this one. Let's see if I can get rid of these so we can look at it. But let me see here. Yeah, when you see its talons, it's amazing. Have you ever seen a harpy, Angela, in Colombia? You have? Yeah, I don't know if you can see this harpy here, but they are just unbelievably large, you know, birds. And that's because they eat these sloths, and sometimes they'll just decapitate them in midair. You know, I mean, I've seen them do it on films. If you ever do want to see.
I saw once one very big. It was in a zoo. Yes.
Yeah, and So the owl is the wisest of all birds. The golden eagle is the golden eagle, the eagle that represents the highest value. And so let's contrast that with the Animus, who is the missing, and actually he's just is not fully differentiated or come into being yet, and he's a dog, and he's in danger of running away, and the way we restrain him is with his short stubby tail. And then we meet the other Animus, who is our ex-boss, and he will not help us assert our own independence by the person who wears. We want to be the person that wears the pants, and he won't let us assert our independence doing it. And then now we contrast that with the second half of the dream. These huge, wonderful birds of prey. Now, so they represent a very active principle. They are meat eaters. So they are active principles. That I don't mean to emphasize the fact that they are birds of prey, but they are birds whose eyes are very like this. Any predator has eyes like this. You know, they don't have eyes. If you're prey, you have eyes that are pushed more to the side of your head so that you can see all around you. But if you're a predator, you need to see what's in front of you. So every one of those has it. And you've got the bird of wisdom, the golden eagle, and then almost the god eagle, which is the harpy, which is amazing. Now, who is next? Is Ivan and Sarah, I think. I don't know if it's Ivan ready or Carl, if he has any comments.
I really like what everyone is saying, especially about the beginning and about the pants and kind of like the Animus figure, which kind of distracts her from what she's going into buy. She's going into buy to help her assert herself. And then with the birds, I just can't get over the Harpy Eagle. I never knew how crazy they're so powerful. I feel like the birds, the owl represents the wisdom, the Harpy Eagle, the power, and the golden eagle almost
the wise, some kind of
values.
Yes.
Values, and it's almost like the values and the power and the wisdom of maybe like the ancient feminine, that's what I think of. And they're hyper aware. They're very aware. So,
very
and they're
alert.
almost, it's almost like they're waiting for her and just watching her, and they're ready and they're there for her, almost like kind of like a spirit guide.
Compare that with the ex-boss and the Animus who's not there, only his dog. You go into this place where there are these I mean, each one's more shocking than the other to see these birds. You know, to see a great horned owl. You've seen an owl when you see a great horned owl. They have their tufts on their head like this. They're horned, they say. And then you've got the golden eagle, which is the golden aspect. Tim was I think right. It represents a very high value. So, and then you have the Harpy Eagle, which represents incredible power, the highest value, and wisdom. This is Angela's true Animus figure. And yet they also wear a headdress that gives them a feminine air. So they have the aspect too that they've transcended opposites. Not only are they the great Animus figures, but they also participate in feminine wisdom too. You know, they seem to have been to the world of feminine wisdom, and she has gifted them a headdress. So these animals, or not animals, but they call them animal forms of the center, are unbelievably powerful and moving to ego consciousness. And so they are incredibly transforming, you know, and the male figures in the middle world are not very helpful. But we walk in here, that's not the kind of help we need anyway, to find the pants or the dog that belongs to another animus who's missing. The one we need. Now, let's just read that last part at the end, because I'm not sure how we got there. Okay. So we got, we just went into the craft store, and of course we're not buying pants anymore. And you were always saying, well, if this is all you got, I guess I could buy a few birthday presents. But then suddenly 180-degree shift. We see on a branch these very dignified, standing tall. Now, very dignified, standing tall. And as Sarah said, unbelievably alert. The eagles and owls, these birds of prey, they are brown and gray earth colors, but it's not somber. Okay. So they're related to the earth. So these are like the green man, they're almost like the son of the mother, the son of the great mother. They have an aspect of them that is related to the earth. And from left to right, there was a great horned owl. The wisdom is on the farthest to the side of the unconscious, and wisdom is not knowledge. It's the knowledge of life. Then there in the middle is the highest value, the golden eagle, and then on the side of consciousness is incredible power, which is really what we need with the pair of pants. Well, does anybody have any concluding comments? Well, I'm going to have to finish this next time. And Sarah, if you're ready with the dream, and Dawn, we always welcome one of your dreams. We can start on that next time, but we'll finish Angela's dream. But I just wonder if anybody has any just like thoughts they just want to burst out of them. Go ahead.
I do. I mean, Angela just started telling me her dreams recently, and she became a little interested in this group, and it seemed like her dreams were like the dream maker immediately was like, yeah, I want part of this and I want to say something. Just the other night she told me she hasn't read any Jung or anything, but she had a dream she was in the Swiss Alps. I was like, whoa. You're looking at the Alps. But I mean, she has I think there's a tremendous a dream maker inside of her, and source of wisdom and guidance and power. This kind of blows me away. And I think that I agree with what everyone said. I think those are all great points. There's definitely like two. You want to tell? Can you say something about like when she's like totally herself, the expression on her face, and when she's totally free in herself, the expression on her face is so like magical. Like there's a magical feminine presence to her, and I tell her she looks like Mila Kunis when she has it. She really does. she gets this like Mila Kunis look to her. And it's hard to like, I don't know. It's just, so, I mean, there's a real magic inside of her,
Well,
I feel like.
we have one face that we show to the outer world. Then we have another face that we show when we are at home. And then we have another face that we have when we're alone, you know. And it is, and I think I'm right. What you're saying, Carl, too, here is this almost sounds like the first dream of an analysis. And we're all together here. What we're doing is cheap analysis. You know, we don't have to spend a lot of money. But like I say, sometimes I don't think we can keep up with everybody's dreams. Tim or Gary or Roy or anybody that wants to do a one-on-one session, just email me and we can try to keep up with everybody's dreams, you know, or Sarah or Dawn, anybody, Ivan, you know. So, I mean, if we can't get to, it looks like we can do about 2 dreams a night, and then we still kind of I don't feel that we finished them even then, you know, and then we have to, and plus I think it helps to sleep on it a day or 2. But anyway, Wednesday, we'll kind of finish Angela's dream, just some summing up like we did with Ivan's. And Roy or Tim or Gary, did you have any concluding thoughts, or, you know? Okay. All right. Well, we'll see you guys all Wednesday. And bring a dream, and first come, first served, or whatever.
Thank you,
Okay.
Rob. Great insights.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Angela and Ivan. Bye now. And Charles.